that we were actually discussing on the weekly plan, the weekly routine, and more so we are focused on the weekly routine consisting of 3 simple yet powerful steps. So we are discussing this today, and this further continues into how we actually can implement this 12-week year plan into our lives. Yeah. So the first step for the weekly routine is score your week. Step 1, score your week. In chapter 16, you will see how the 12-week year enables you to effectively measure your execution through a weekly scorecard. This measure, more than any other, is the most powerful indicator of success that you have. As part of your weekly routine, you will want to take a few minutes each week and score your execution. We will learn more details about how to calculate these numbers in chapter 16. But for now, just know that it is an essential part of your weekly routine. Step 2, plan your week. So far, we have talked in detail about the importance of having and working from a weekly plan. If you are using Achieve, the system will automatically populate your weekly plan with the tactics that are due this week. If you are using a paper system like Freehand, then you will need to refer to your 12-week plan, pull out those tactics that are due this week, and transfer them to your weekly plan. In either case, don't start a week without a weekly plan. Each week, you will need to schedule about 15 minutes to score and plan your week. Approximately 70% of our clients perform this task first thing Monday morning. The other 30% do it sometime between Friday afternoon and Monday morning. It really doesn't matter when you do it, as long as you schedule a time that you can be consistent with each week. Step 3, participate in a WAM. As I discussed previously, your probability of success greatly increases when you meet regularly with a small group of peers. Make a short list of those who you would like to WAM with each week. Then contact those people and determine a regular day and time to meet. Also decide if you will meet in person or over the phone. Have each member enter the WAM in the calendar as a recurring event. These 3 simple steps form the basis of your high performance system. The steps are easy to do and even easier not to do. If you really are serious about your goals, then commit to this weekly routine. Thinking shift. Often people assume that because they know what they need to do, they won't benefit from a weekly plan. Based on numerous studies and our experience with thousands of clients, that is not the case. A plan between your ears is not nearly as effective as a plan on paper. In our experience, you are 60 to 80% more likely to execute a written weekly plan than a plan that is in your head. Putting your plan to paper eliminates ambiguity and creates transparency. For some, this transparency is excruciatingly uncomfortable and produces all kinds of unproductive thinking that can keep you from creating a clear written plan. The thinking often goes like this: I know what I need to do, so I don't need to write it down. Or I need more flexibility than that. Writing it down just restricts me. Or here's another one: I'm extremely busy, I don't have time for that. All of these are excuses designed to avoid personal accountability. Some people have the same kind of limited thinking when it comes to the WAM meetings. They say, I don't have time for that, or only weak people need that. All of these thoughts and comments are smoke screens that reveal a deeper fear of transparency and accountability. Make no mistake, you will be more successful if you work from a written weekly plan and meet regularly with a group of your peers. Don't kid yourself, you are not different. To get the most out of your time and life, align your thinking with the benefits of the steps in the weekly routine. Team application. The 12-week year is a cultural change, a new way of operating. Lee Iacocca, former automotive CEO, said that the speed of the leader is the speed of the team. As the leader of your group, you ultimately shape the culture of your organization through your conversations, your actions, and your focus. The 12-week year is a cultural shift. For the organization to be successful in adopting it as an operating system and achieving the results you desire, you will need to champion the cause. Because culture is a reflection of the leader, your actions more than anything else will have the greatest impact on determining whether your team fully adopts and profits from the 12-week year. Your first task is to model the behavior that you want to see in them. That starts with you adopting the weekly routine, scoring and planning each week, and participating in a WAM. The next step is for you to individually inspect all of your direct reports' habits. Do they have a plan each week? Are they scoring each week? Are they actively participating in a WM? There will be times when your people struggle. These are typically the times when they stop planning and scoring and drop out of the WM groups. This is the exact opposite of what they need. It is critical that they stay engaged. At these times, they will need your leadership and encouragement to stay in the game. You will want to formally review the weekly plans and scorecards with them at least once a month in a scheduled one-on-one coaching session. Occasionally, you may want to sit in on one of their WAM meetings and provide some coaching and encouragement. Keep it positive. Recognize and celebrate early successes and maintain the focus on execution. Common pitfalls. Don't let these common pitfalls rob you of your success. Pitfall 1. You don't plan each week. Getting off to a fast start each week creates momentum and helps you to be more productive throughout the week. Monday is often a stressful day and we can feel behind from the moment it begins. Often at the beginning of the week, we just jump right in with email, voicemail, and whatever else may be awaiting us. In addition to just diving into our week, other things can get in the way of us taking time to plan the week, including a negative mindset. Maybe one of the following thoughts has slowed you down. You have no time for it. You think that you are just too busy and that you will get to it later, but later never comes. You don't need it. The misguided thinking that somehow you are the exception and don't need a game plan for the week. Watch how quickly the time slips away. You are above it. Thinking that a weekly plan is for beginners and someone in your position doesn't need it. You already know it. The thinking that you already know what you need to do, so there's no benefit to writing it down or planning things out. You don't want to be accountable. For some, working from a written weekly plan creates a level of discomfort because it continually reminds them when they are not doing what they know they should be doing. You include all your tasks. The weekly plan does not contain everything you do in your job, just the strategic items from your 12-week plan. You should have a separate sheet with to-do items and callbacks. Do not dilute your plan by adding all the lower-level activities that you do in the course of your duty. Keep the weekly plan for only strategic items and commitments. Pitfall 3. You assume that each week is the same. Another mistake that many make is assuming that each week has the same activity, so they create only weekly plan and then copy it each week. It's highly possible that many of your weeks look similar, but it's unlikely that all 12 weeks have the exact same activities. Even if you are the statistical exception, the benefit of spending 5 to 10 minutes to set up your coming week pays big dividends. Pitfall 4. You add tactics weekly. Keep in mind that a weekly plan is essentially a 1/12th slice of your 12-week plan. Occasionally, you may add a tactic to your weekly plan, but this should not happen frequently. Most new tactics should be added to the 12-week plan first and then flow through to the weekly plan. This prevents you from getting drawn into urgent activities that are not necessarily strategic. Pitfall 5. You don't use it to guide your day. Once you have created your weekly plan, you will want to use it daily to keep you on track with the activities that are most important in achieving your goals. Check in with your weekly plan first thing each morning, once or twice throughout the day, and before you go home. When you learn to guide your daily activities based on your weekly plan, you will begin to experience truly breakthrough performance. Pitfall 6. You don't make it part of your routine. Each of us has a routine. Routines are an important part of consistent success. Make the decision right now to incorporate the weekly routine. Anybody would like to take over chapter 16, keeping score?
May I?
Yeah, please.
One. Chapter 16, Keeping Score. Measurement drives the execution process. It is your touchstone with reality. Truly effective measurement combines both lead and lag indicators to provide the comprehensive feedback needed for informed decision making. It is the feedback loop that lets you know if your actions are effective. Adam Black discusses the impact that his simple and daily measurement system had on his results. The 12-week year was suggested to me by a business partner at the end of 2011. It was perfect timing. After reading the book several times, I knew without a doubt that this system fit me perfectly. I'm the typical type of personality, hard charging, aggressive, but sometimes missing the small details. With the 12-week year, I'm able to slow down, I'm able to slow myself down and systematically project what I wanted to achieve in a 12-week year in order to ultimately reach my longest term objectives. I found that the beauty of it was that I could adjust my 12-week plans based on how my numbers move. To help me stay focused on my highest value tasks, I created a simple 12-week calendar as a visual aid to measure my progress. The calendar keeps track of my two key daily lead and lag metrics every day. When I go home each night, I now know exactly where I stand in terms of my 12-week goal. By trying these daily metrics to reaching my 12-week goal for dollar volume and units, I saw an increase of 65% in unit and dollar volume in 2012. As a result of applying the 12-week year, I have also already met my company's standard to qualify as a top producer and will be awarded, and will be rewarded with a trip in 2013. To say that the 12-week year has revolutionized my business would be an understatement. With the 12-week year, it became easier to reach my goals. No more rushing at the end of the year to meet an annual number. It has actually enriched my life so I can make my goals, provide for my family, and spend more time doing the things I love away from the work. As Adam discovered, measurement doesn't have to be complicated to be effective, but it does have to be timely. In the best measurement system, there are lead indicators and lag indicators. As we discussed in chapter 6, The lag indicators are the end results, and your 12-week goals are the ultimate lagging indicator. If you're tracking progress towards your goal, then you are tracking big indicators. Lead indicators are the things that happen early in the execution program progress process. I'm sorry. Lead indicators are the things that happen only in the execution process. They are the things that drive the lag. Most people are pretty good at tracking the lag the indicators, but the opportunity for growth and usually the greatest will the lead indicators. What are the lead indicators for your goals? Let's say that you want to lose 10 pounds. The total weight goal of 10 pounds is a lag indicator because it happens at the end of the 12 weeks. A good lead measure might be the number of calories that you eat daily or weekly. Another might be the number of workouts you have each week, such as miles jogged, laps swum, minutes on the elliptical. You get the idea. Whatever indicators you decide to measure, be sure to track and record your progress each week of your 12-week year. In general, the most frequent measure is the most useful it is. For example, quarterly measures are typically better than annual measures. Annual measures provide feedback only once over a 12-month period. But if you are trying to improve a result and you only measure it once a year, there is no feedback throughout the year to help you determine if your actions are productive or not. Similarly, monthly measures are better than quarterly ones. They provide more frequent feedback. Weekly is better than monthly, and daily is often better than weekly. With a 12-week year, we have you established 12-week goals. So, at the very least, you will have a success measure that no longer than 12 weeks. Even so, you will be well served to identify a set of lead indicators that you can track monthly, weekly, or daily. At this point, you are most likely set your 12-week goals and build your 12-week plan. So now is the time to establish a set of lead and lag indicators for each of your goals. If you haven't set your goals and created your plan, come back to this exercise after you have completed those steps. Okay, 12-week goal one lead. So we have to fill up the activity sheet. So we need to have some goals and we have to fill it up here. Would anyone else like to take over?
Yeah, I may. Yes, should I?
Yeah. Right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Be sure to track these measures each week. Use a spreadsheet, a word table, or the key measures section of our website to help you record and monitor your progress. As we discussed in the first section of the book, the most effective lead indicator you can have is a measure of your weekly execution. It is critical that you measure execution. We have found that if you execute a minimum of 85% of the actions due in your weekly plan each week, you are very likely to hit your goals at the end of the 12 weeks. Whether you use the online tool, our paper system, or a legal pad, taking time each week to measure your execution is essential. Figure 16.1 is a sample weekly scorecard from Archie, our suite of online tools. You can create one almost as easily using our paper based system called Freehand. Figure 16.1, your weekly scorecard shows the percentage of tactics that you completed in the previous week. Score an average of 85% or higher, and you are on track to hit your 12-week goal. Check off your accomplishments in week 5. So, do I need to read these? This is just a sample.
Yeah, we can just move on. It is similar to what we had read as, to be set, and whatever is done is just crossed off from that
Yeah.
list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please go on.
In both cases, you will notice that what you measure on a weekly basis is the execution of your planned tactics, not your results. You simply check off or count up those tactics that you completed last week, regardless of the results you got. Let us go back to my fitness example. My goal is to lose 10 pounds during this 12-week period. My plan include tactics like the following. Do 20 minutes of cardio a minimum of 5 times a week. Train with weights 3 times per week. Drink at least 6 glasses of water each day. Limit my calorie intake at 1200 per day. As part of my measurement system, I am going to weigh myself each week and record my weight. But my weight is a lag indicator. So I am also going to score my execution. To score my execution in this case, I would identify the number of tactics I completed as a percentage of the number possible. The online system achieve does this automatically for me. So if I complete 3 out of 4, my weekly execution score would be 75%. The results measure and the execution measure are separate. In my example, I may have lost 2 pounds this week, but still only scored 75% because the results are lagging. I want to pay close attention to both measures. And even though I lost 2 pounds, I did not have a good week from an execution standpoint. What that tells me is that unless I execute better next week, my weight loss will stall out. The next topic is thinking shift. This is a major shift in thinking for most people. The thinking shift is twofold. First is the shift to embrace measurement and not to shy away from it, as is so often the case. Yes, measurement is cold and unsympathetic, and at times even harsh. It discounts effort and has no regard for interruptions or distractions or any other excuse you can muster. But in the end, measurement is helpful and necessary. Without measurement, there is no way for you to know unequivocally if you are making progress. Without measurement, there is no way for you to know what adjustments would be productive. Without measurement, it is virtually impossible to hit your goals. The second thinking shift is to focus more on the actions than the results. Remember, you have greater control over your actions than you do your outcomes. Your outcomes are driven by your actions. The weekly plan and the weekly scorecard are focused on your actions. The scorecard measures whether you did what you said was most important in order to achieve your goals. As a result, your weekly scorecard is the most accurate predictor of your future. If you faithfully complete the critical actions on a daily and weekly basis, the result will come. So, the process is less about the end result and more about the daily actions. That is why the scorecard only measures your execution and not your results. Team application. As a manager or leader, how you think about measurement and how you engage with it will ultimately impact your team's productivity and results. Too many managers mistakenly think about measurement as accountability. This mindset creates all kinds of dysfunction and barriers to high performance. When managers think this way about measurement, they tend to use it to trigger negative consequences for their direct reports. In other words, when measurement is seen as the accountability system, then managers use measurement and negative consequences to hold people accountable. In this environment, employees and associates quickly learn to avoid measurement and their manager. The more you use measurement to trigger negative consequences, the more your team will avoid and even openly resist measurement. Measurement is not accountability, it is simply feedback. The more effective use of measurement is as a feedback mechanism to identify breakdowns, progress, and successes. In this way, measurement allows you to confront reality and breakdowns without the pushback and collateral damage associated with negative consequences. Ideally, you want the performers to measure themselves. If they rely on you to track and tally their key measures, that is often an indication of a lack of ownership on their part. Think about that. If you were really committed to your goals and had a strong desire to accomplish them, would not you track your progress? You know you have ownership when associates measure and track their own metrics. When your team is on the 12-week year, you will want to ensure that each of them has established a set of key measures, lead and lag indicators that they are committed to tracking. This does not need to be a long list of measures, but rather just a handful of metrics that provide meaningful feedback to the individual. In addition, with your team on the 12-week year, you now have the platform to coach from. Everything you need to effectively coach your people to higher performance and more consistent results is available through the 12-week year. One of those items is the weekly scorecard. As a manager, you will want to check in with how your direct reports are scoring on a weekly basis. Without even knowing the specifics of an individual's plan, I can ascertain through their weekly score how likely it is that they will accomplish their goals. By inquiring about their weekly scores, you can know immediately if someone is at risk. If you have a direct report who scores less than 60% on any given week, it is an indication that they may need some help. One score doesn't make or break a 12-week year, but it certainly can be a red flag that some level of intervention is needed if the individual is to have any chance of hitting their 12-week goals. Common pitfalls and success tips. Once you have determined your metrics and are tracking them weekly, here are some pitfalls to avoid and tips to make the metrics work for you. Pitfall 1. You think that measurement is complicated or unimportant. Too many people use the "I am not a numbers person" excuse as a reason to avoid measuring. Don't let that be you. If you are going to perform at your best and achieve your goals, you will need to measure. Pitfall second, you don't schedule a block of time each week to assess your progress. Determine a time each week, either at the end of the week or the first thing Monday morning, and block this time to score your execution. Track your indicators and plan your upcoming week. For most people, 10 to 15 minutes is sufficient. Pitfall third, you abandon the system when you don't score well. Too often, people abandon the system and stop scoring when they have two bad weeks in a row. Have the courage to assess each week and don't back down, even when you have a disappointing week. Tip 1. Review your weekly score with a buddy or a small group of peers each week. Studies show that when people leverage teams, they get significantly more done on their plans. See the section on WAMS in chapter 15. Tip second, commit to make progress each week. Maybe you can't improve your execution from 45 to 85% in one week, but you can move from 45 to 50 or 60%. Focus on making progress. The goal is to raise your level of execution each week. A weekly score that is increasing is a positive sign that bodes well for succeeding with your goals. Tip third is remember that a weekly score of less than 85% is not necessarily bad. A score of 65% might be an improvement in activity from the past 12 weeks. Even at 65%, most people will see an improvement in their results. The question you need to ask yourself is this: is an execution score of 65% enough to accomplish my 12-week goals? Tip fourth, don't be afraid to confront what your members are telling you. If you are unwilling to confront the reality, then you will never be able to change it. When you track leading indicators, your execution system will help you to identify the root causes of any performance breakdowns you may experience. When there is a breakdown in your results, you need to know if it was caused by a breakdown in your execution or your plan content. There is a big difference, and the only way to know for sure is by measuring both results and execution. Yes, anybody wants to read further?
Yeah, can I please read?
Yeah, please.
Chapter 17. Take back control of your day. One of the barriers that our clients often cite when explaining what keeps them from achieving more of what they are capable of is a lack of time. The lack of time reason is so common that it seems very real. Excuse me. Yet, more often than not, it is a smoke screen that covers over the real barrier. In fact, what most often keeps you from being exceptional is not a lack of time, but the way you allocate the time that you have. I know that sounds like semantics, but it's an important distinction. Here is an encouraging story of how time blocking allowed Anita Batista to balance competing demands on her time and still excel at what was most important to her. It has been almost 2 years since I first read the 12-week year. I devoured it and applied the principles not only in my home business but on a personal and professional level as well. My 12-week goals were to be on pace each 12 weeks for the yearly award given to the top performers and begin to homeschool my child. In order to do this, I knew I needed a good plan. I am an outreach counselor. In that role, I educate clients about their medical benefits. I assist them in choosing a medical plan and doctor for themselves and or their child, as well as a dental plan and dentist for their children. To meet my goals, each month I have to complete 650 phone calls and conduct 100 home visits. I also have to do presentations at local agencies, attend health fairs and community meetings, and do a minimum of 15 community contacts each month, 8 of which have to be done face to face. I have an area of 6 zip codes to cover in 2 countries. I worried how I would get all this done. What could I do daily that would get me where I wanted to be by being steady and consistent? My profession is demanding and rewarding at the same time. I'm also a wife, mother, and grandmother. Becoming intentional about my plan in order to achieve everything I wanted to do would be critical. Time blocking effectively helped me to reach my goals. I use buffer blocks each morning, usually for 1 hour from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. to check my mail, send out an encouraging word to my colleagues, and then prioritize my contact list by order of importance. I then move on to the time blocks that I schedule each day to perform my key activities. For the next 4 hours, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. each day, I either make phone calls or home visits. These time blocks help me to stay on top of my very demanding workload. My time blocking works so well that by Tuesday, when I'm supposed to start calling my daily lists, I have already completed them. My weekly call lists are usually completed 1 to 2 weeks early each month. Next come my breakout or blocks. After lunch each day, I start homeschooling, which takes me exactly 3 hours to do. Teaching gives me a break from work. I like teaching my son, enjoys learning the different subjects we cover: Bible, language arts, science, math, history, and geography provide a great way to tune into several different options within my breakout block. So things are not mundane and boring. When homeschooling is done, I finish my day with another buffer block, wrapping up with a few calls, data entry of what has been done for the day, and checking my mail one last time before the day ends to make sure nothing major is pending for the next day. Using the disciplines of time blocking in the 12 weeks year, I have been able to work ahead, sometimes even 2 weeks ahead. When I have gone on vacation, I have been able to enjoy it because I know I won't have things pending or undone when I get back. I have taken ownership of my plan. I have chosen to excel. My choices have gained me the respect of my manager and supervisor as well as my colleagues, family, and friends. All this being said, I not only accomplished my goal of earning the Outreach Counselor of the Year award in 2011, I also received the that award this year 2012, something that has never been done before. On a personal level, my husband and I are applying this to our finances and are determined to be out of debt with the exception of our mortgage by December of the next year. We will accomplish in 12 months what would normally take 18 to 36 months. Effective time use can be the difference between mediocre and great performance. The problem is that the world is rife with potential distractions and interruptions that arise non-stop throughout the day. A study conducted by Eric Horowitz of Microsoft Research and Shamsi Iqbal of the University of Illinois found that after being distracted from serious mental tasks by things like emails or instant messages, the typical Microsoft worker took an average of 15 minutes to get back on their original tasks. Further, a 2005 time use study published by Bessex, a business research firm, concluded that 28% of the average professional's time in a day was spent on interruption and associated recovery time. That's about 11 distracted hours in a 40-hour week. Yeah, just scroll up. The choices that you make and how you spend your time ultimately creates your results in life. The great people, the giants of history, whether in politics, culture, art, science, religion, or any endeavor you can think of, had no more time in each day than you do. What they did with their time made all the difference. The breakdown lies in your moment by moment choices. Most people make choices that increase their short term benefits and minimize their short term costs. In 2011, the average American spent 2.8 hours a day watching TV. That's 12% of our lives. And that number does not include the hours spent on the newly available entertainment devices such as smartphones and tablets. Often watch TV to escape and to relax. We do it partly because it's easy. We don't have to do anything except change the channel. TV may be beneficial in some ways, but helping us to live a life of significance is not one of them. Sometimes the choices you make are not as obviously low value as your TV and coach time. Some of your choices may make it seem like you are staying busy, when in reality you are choosing to avoid your more important and often more difficult activity. This tendency shows up everywhere in our lives and includes things like following up on emails and messages rather that tackling the most difficult but higher payoffs activities like making sales calls, exercising and confronting difficult relationship problems. Spending leisure time and doing comfortable tasks is undoubtedly healthy in moderation, but when we consistently choose comfortable activity, we are dooming ourselves to lives lived for short and our capabilities. Eventually, the excessive time we spend maximizing comfort in that moment leads to inevitable delayed costs and unrealized achievements. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, eventually everyone sits down to a banquet of consequences. To become fit requires discomfort. To earn a significant income requires discomfort. To become great at anything requires you to pay the price. To accomplish what you desire will take sacrifice. The number one thing you will need to sacrifice is your comfort. To become great, you must choose to allocate your time to your greatest opportunities. You will have to choose to spend time on the difficult things that create your biggest payoffs. To be great, you will need to live with intention. That will require you to be clear on what matters most and then to have the courage to say no to things that distract you. You will need to guard your time intensely, delegating or eliminating everything possible that is not of our strengths or does not help you advance your goals. Based on the talents that you have developed and owned, you have certain strengths and weaknesses. In general, striving to reduce the weakness that limit your results is worthwhile and noble. Everyone has weaknesses that they need to shore up to be successful. However, a weakness will rarely become a strength. If you are not in a role that plays to or magnifies your strengths, you are probably in the wrong spot. In reality, it is the focused and concentrated application of your strengths that will produce your greatest achievements. Successful individuals work to their strengths. Truly outstanding performance have gone a step further and work to what we call their unique capability. Unique capabilities are one or two things you do absolutely the best. They also tend to be the things that you enjoy doing. Whether you know it or not, your unique capabilities are responsible for your greatest success and joys throughout your life. To be your best, you must intentionally align your time and activities with your strengths and your unique capabilities. When you do, you will also experience a new and ever increasing level of performance and satisfaction. To achieve this level of performance will require that you carve out time for the strategic. those actions that are important but not necessarily urgent. Strategic activities don't typically have an immediate payback, yet they create substantial returns in the future. To stay focused on your strengths, you will need to manage your interruptions and keep the low payoff activities to a minimum. Performance time. Effective time is one of the 5 disciplines of the 12-week year. In combination with the other 4, vision, planning, process control, and scorekeeping, it is part of the proven 12-week year execution system. Everything that we achieve in life happens in the context of time. The important things will get done only if you allocate time to them. One of the building blocks of your success is the ability to spend time on what matters the most. Performance time is an easy to use time blocking system that allows you to operate like the CEO of your business and life by spending your most valuable asset, your time, with intention. Your commitment and ability to apply performance time is a manifestation of personal leadership. If you live with intentionality of effective time use, you'll become a more effective leader of those around you, and you will build your business and personal success at a faster rate. As discussed in the chapter 7, there are 3 components that form the foundation of effective time use. They are strategic blocks, buffer blocks, and breakout blocks. Each of these 3 time blocks is designed to help you accomplish key activities more efficiently. Strategic blocks are 3 hours in length and should be scheduled early in your week so that if one gets interrupted or cancelled, you have time to reschedule it. They are blocks of time when you work on your business, not in it. Strategic blocks should also be scheduled during times when your work activity is typically lowest. One strategic block per week is usually adequate. Buffer blocks are designed to deal with the low level activity and are typically between 30 minutes and 1 hour in length, scheduled 1 to 2 times per day. The actual amount of time for buffer blocks will depend upon the amount of email, phone calls, interruptions, and other administrative you normally are required to handle. Breakout blocks are designed to prevent burnout and create more free time. They are 3 hours in length and should be scheduled once a week. After the rest of the 12-week year is working for you, we recommended that you only have one per month until everything else is working and you're executing well. In addition to these 3 categories, you will also want to schedule blocks of time to execute other important activities.
Thanks, Pranav. We will stop for the day today.
Yeah. You're welcome, dear.
Yeah. So let's reflect back on what we read and try and understand what resonated and what are the areas of improvement that you see that you can adopt from today's reading. Anyone? Please go ahead. If you are already on some way of monitoring your work and have a plan, track your thing, any experiences from that which which can tell that this is the same thing which is there in the 12-week year, anything which resonates? Anyone?
For me, yeah, go on, go on.
Go ahead, Mansi.
No, no, for me, I was just about to say that the intentional part is just highlighting again and again. So being intentional and designing everything from an intentional approach is what is just coming back to me again and again. So that's maybe where I would want to focus on going forward.
Anything on the common pitfalls and success tips that have been given?
Um, Actually, when you schedule a certain timetable or when you schedule certain timings for to do certain activities, at times we can't execute that in a day due to some or the other distractions or emergencies or whatever. At that moment, when you prepare a score for that particular day, you would know like where you have lost the time and all. What I've learned from the reading today is that the author is telling very clearly that don't take that as a in a negative way. Rather, just take it as a feedback. Don't go to any of the extremes over there. So for what reason you're not able to do, and just take it as a yardstick for the next day's improvement. And at times he has also mentioned somewhere that uh, uh, never think that I am a kind of this numbers person, wherein just calculations of the time and then doing the task as per the time. Never think that, oh, this doesn't suit to me. But then if you wanted to really be successful, this is the only formula to follow, that is the scheduling time, and then again checking what kind of activities you're doing intentionally with the timing you have scheduled. So yeah, these 2 points I have learned. The pitfalls is like, never be in the trap that I'm not a numbered person, and never give an answer to your mind that like if the score is less for today, don't take that in a negative way, rather than take it as a progressive action. So here usually humans, we as humans, our mind comes over that place and it will cheat you that it's like waste, you have misused the day, or this calculations and all is not my part of job, or something like that. So during that time you need to be intentional and again work back to execute your timetable in a better way. That's the thing I've learned. Thank you.
Yeah, anyone else?
Yeah, for me, the important takeaways were uh, the three important steps for high performance system, like scoring the week, planning our week, and participating in WAM. So for we should start. Uh, don't start without any weekly plan. The main crux was that, and have it on the paper also. Otherwise, it leads to ambiguity. If we are having in mind only, it leads to ambiguity, and having on paper leads to transparency. Next was about the model behavior of the team leader. That if the leader first he practices on himself, then he can become then he will influence others to follow that, and then he can have meetings and accountability, etc. Yeah, the lag and lead points, that lead is for execution process and lag is what we get at the end of the 12 weeks plan. That is our main goal. So that is my takeaway. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Actually, that got clarified here, and with example, it becomes more clear as to how we should interpret it and how we should be actually preparing our plan. So
Yeah.
he said without a lead and lag thing, if you have planned something, then go back and come back once you have actually fixed those parameters. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyone
Thank
else?
you.
So one more point which highlighted for me was, apart from what Pranavi and Suman already shared also. So something that highlighted for me, like you don't think like that copy paste thing of the week. He said like maybe your week might sound similar, but you still have to plan it, and you have to plan the 12 week first, and then you have to come to that 1 week, like 12 weeks first, and it has to be a strategic planning, and then we have to plan every week more strategically, and not to include the daily like the activities that are not strategic or aligned with the goal, but that are just routine. So I think that was a big takeaway for me, because I happen to have had this dilemma, because most of the things in my weeks are repetitive. So I was just wondering how to and that really got answered through this. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was also a good point, because we tend to actually plan all the minute details and become overwhelmed with that. So what is being required is what one key strategic move is that which you need to actually fulfill and tick off, which is very crucial for getting to your goal. Yeah. What else?
Yeah, one more thing that spoke to me was that work on your strengths. Generally, what happens is we find that, okay, this is a weakness. So um, our endeavor is to polish ourselves on our weak points. And here, what I got was understanding was that forget the weak point. If you have a strength, work on it, magnify it 10 times so that you're able to get the maximum results from it.
Right, right. That is very, very important point because as you build that capability and that will, if you keep on working on that, that capability will build and you will have maybe a broader way of looking at things and more things you can achieve due to that. Yes. Anything else that stood out?
So considering what Sunita shared, there is this one point that I just remembered, which was shared to us by one of my mentors, coach. So he just shared this with us. Like normally, what happens is when we want to develop a few qualities in us or habits or whatever, and we are failing at it, or we are not able to do that. He said that, for example, you want to have this 10 qualities to become whoever you want to become. So we normally have a tendency of focusing on the ones that are not working or that we want to build. But what he shared was a different perspective. What he shared, like just in alignment with what Sunita pointed out, and also from the book. So he shared, like, if you have three qualities that you have for sure, like for example, you're a kind person, like kindness is your strength, or maybe discipline is your strength, whatever it is, like whatever three qualities for you have for sure, that has got you where you have where you have reached so far in your life. So whatever so for example, some people might have the grit to do things, or whatever it is, like you have this in you. So he said you have to just make sure that you protect those three things. And as you protect those three things, and simultaneously we try to develop and focus on the others too. He says that along with the three, the fourth one start emerging. Like he just showed us this showing the fingers in a hand. So just imagine it that way. So like the fourth one will start rising up, then eventually it will get established, then the fifth one will start rising, and the sixth one, and eventually as you protect the ones you already have, the all the others that you wish to have will automatically start developing, and they will start imbibing in you. So this was a beautiful takeaway for me, and that has really helped me. So many a times we go haywire because when we are trying to focus on building something new, we tend to get lose what we already have also at times. So this was a beautiful takeaway for me then, and it has stayed with me. So just sharing with everyone. So since I thought it's in alignment with what we're reading, so just share.
Yeah, thanks for actually elaborating on that. And really, that is a very magical point if you see, because normally we focus more on the negative rather than the positive. And that's how, it is more to avoid roadblocks than to actually have a better path. So that's how the bias comes into our thinking. And this is a good way of actually putting focus on what is really mattering or what will actually lead you to more of excellence than the limited view that you have currently. Yes. So for me, today's the whole discussion was that there has to be a cultural shift, there has to be a mind shift, and there has to be a way of working shift. Maybe your environment also has to accommodate the way you are going to function here on once you apply the 12-week year plan. So I think this is this entire book pages that we read today was a call for change. That it is a requirement that you will have to change and adopt these new parameters of functioning so that you can actually make use of this 12-week year plan. So it was more focus on the plan, make a plan, be clear what is required, don't go for the short-term benefits, look for, look for the long-term perspectives while planning, then break it down to a 12-week plan, and then the lead as well as the lag parameters. The periodic look back or the periodic measurement is required, and there it has been, told that we'll have to not hesitate in looking back and reflect. I think for me personally, this reflection, periodic reflection with plan doesn't happen. Mota the plan will be there in place. I may not refer it on daily basis, and mota there will be a reflection some vague time that how I have performed or how long I have to have come and what I have to do next. So this way of measuring actually, and with the specific parameters that we have set earlier, that is very strategic or need for the goal to be achieved, is not happening for me right now. So that's a call of change in way I'm functioning today. Also, as Pranavi highlighted, that this reflection will be a feedback system, not as a something which is looming on your head that it will be has to be taken as a stress point. Rather, it has to be seen as a point where you get a red flag much earlier before you head towards your goal. And if there are any problems, any ways that you have to change yourself, that's where adjustments can be done before any issues arise. It's also a reality check that there is a plan, very good plan we have, but reality, once it meets the reality, whether it's actually a functioning plan or not, we can understand. And if not, then there can be early intervention so that we are on track with minor adjustments to reach our goals. So basically, the whole idea is on the execution, allocation of time, and building up such a workable model so that the consistency is kept. Now, if you see the blocking of time, actually, I don't think I'm doing it very, very resourcefully the way it can be done, the blocking of time, and it has to be a mindfulness also in the way you look at this entire thing. So I think we have to understand ourselves better, understand the way we function, and understand what we are actually aiming at. So, and the current scenario or the current circumstances we are working on. So this is more deeper, I would say, than what on the surface the planning looks on paper. It is a deeper evaluation. And once we start actually applying it, I think we will ourselves build a different way of understanding things and may go really reach the depth that ultimately we are seeking here. So as far as pitfall goes, the common pitfalls and the tips, two things actually stood out for me. One is you don't use it to guide the day. That is the pitfall, that you don't refer the plan to guide your day. Yes, that happens with me quite often because I might have a written plan, but I just pick up random 2-3 activities which are crucial and maybe crucial, but maybe 2 or 3 get left out also. So I think I do that, and I need to actually go back to the plan a bit more often. The tip of that, don't be afraid to confront what your numbers are telling, is something which deeply resonated, that somewhere I'm also afraid to make adjustments, because you see, if I go and reflect back on the day and if I come to know that these things have not been done, so that also gives a bit of guilt or maybe a thing that I'm not, so somewhere I'm avoiding that. So let's also use it as a mirror to not reflect that we are not competent, but what else needs, or what needs attention rather. So this is what today's points were. And the most important thing was, I feel, the amount of interruption that they have actually measured and said is 28%. So till now, I was not, being able to quantify the interruption. Of course, for each person that may differ, but 28% if you take 11 hours a week. So that itself is such huge, and we might not able to visualize this amount of time that is going in interruptions. So that was something which brought me to the reality again, and and I know there is a requirement that we have to actually stick to the plan and actually reflect back on what we need to do to achieve what we. So it is more of a system work than I would say just work on our motivations and work on the willpower. It is more of a work on the system that we are functioning today at all levels, mind, environment, and the way and towards what we are looking at. Yeah. So is there anything that one wants to add?
Not add. I just wanted to clarify rather than going back and checking. The score is a weekly score or a daily score that we're getting? So we need to score ourselves on a daily basis and then accumulate it on a week, or
It's a
what
weekly
is the
score, I
author mentioned?
suppose. I suppose it's a weekly score. It's not daily. We have to refer to the plan, but the scoring has to happen daily. Sorry, weekly. Anything else?
But daily we need to keep a track of how we are meeting daily.
Yeah.
So my question is that the weekly plan needs to be broken down to daily basis, right? Or
Yes.
just
Yes, you will have to break it down to daily, no? Otherwise, how will you know what strategic thing you have to do today? This
that
might be
is
confusing if you are working into 4-5 things, right?
right?
And
Yeah.
maybe not everything has to be done on each day. So we'll have to pick and choose what has to be scheduled on each day, right? And even the blocks of times you will have to schedule for each period, right? But what ultimately you'll have to do is follow the plan on a weekly basis and score it at the end of the week.
But the tracking has to be done on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, because how would you know what task is coming up, right?
And
And
they're
whether you are
given the chart
completing
and
it.
all na, to follow through.
Yeah. Actually, there is, I think they have some website Achieve where they have these formats in place. And I think there is an online system, maybe I'll check today, where, you can put it and maybe that brings out, it also helps as a tracker. So I'll have a look at that today and see whether, it can be used as a sample or as a tool for us to track our
Yeah,
plans.
I was actually wanting to ask, I am personally very keen on implementing the learnings from this book and planning my 12-week year. So, is there anyone of you who is very keen and want to really do it? So, maybe we can just have each other as accountability or something and then implement it just the way the book says, like giving it a try, that way.
Yeah, surely we can do that.
Yeah, I'd also
Because
like to just work on
I
one
have
aspect.
I have been listening to, or like I have been reading the book with you, but somehow I have found myself I have just made a list so far of the goals I might want to achieve in 12-week year and all. But I think as the book is getting further and further as we are reading, it's going very very deep with the lead, lag, and all of those things that I have not worked on yet. So I think I'll have to go back and then again, like from starting, I have to work on it, like actually from the implementation point of view. So just
Yeah, and
wanting to know, like, is
yeah,
there
yeah, yeah.
and
So we can do that, maybe among 5 of us who are present now. Because the thing is, see, till you don't implement, how will you know what are the practical difficulties you are going to have?
yes,
And there can
exactly.
also be diverse views, right, which can address it. Somebody might have already, gone through that and overcome it. Some people might not have gone through. At least, if not, maybe may not want to actually plan with the group, but we can at least be a part of seeing how this plan is being effected, or how things are moving on and how things can be done, right, from how we
Yeah,
are
yeah. So
actually doing. Yeah.
So what in my experience when we create groups, like normally the pattern I had followed so far is I just drop a message and I just invite people whoever want to join. But then what I've seen, like it's a common pattern, especially in WhatsApp groups, that people do join, but either they are not read it, or either they have not understood it, or they are not very serious about it, or they just fall through. Then I feel that affects the whole energy of the other people who are serious also at times. So I feel I just don't want to do it that way this time, because I'm very keen on implementing on this. So just however we can do it, it would be good to have uh, each other with us, like as we go through this process.
Yeah, I
So
think,
you decide. Yeah.
yeah, I think you, Sunita, myself. What about you,
I am,
Suman?
I am also,
Pranav?
yeah, I am also much willing. Yeah.
And Pranavi, what about you?
I feel other people might be there who have left so far, but could be interested, but I don't know, like, I'm just
It's
saying.
okay. It's okay. We can start with people who are interested, and then we can, maybe add people who will want to, right?
Yeah, we can
Let's
do that.
not
So
get too
do we
many
create
people
a
who don't
separate?
know the context and then,
Yeah,
explain the basic
agree. Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Because I personally, this is my first time on trying that, so I would want to be going deeper, like actually a little curious and go try it first, than in like telling anyone anything about it. So
Right.
yeah,
We can
so
do that.
yeah, let's. So we'll create a group and just do it. Like, and if anyone is thinking, I feel like just from my previous experiences, that if anyone feels that they're not aligning with it as of now, they can just leave the group. Otherwise, there's no point staying passive and not implementing. Then that adds to a lot of guilt, right? So it doesn't
Um,
make sense.
Actually, I'm listening to all these things, Mansi, and as I have told you, like a lot of other things are going on in my mind. Like I have dropped my kid there in the Bangalore, and as this is the first time somewhere I'm totally with her mentally, and yeah, I am taking my goals, but not in a very serious way. I think it takes more a week or week 10 days to just attempt my activities which I'm doing, not at a at a longer
So,
duration, but at least one
perfectly
activity.
okay. No, in that case, na Pranavi, I would suggest you give yourself time, and you can
Yeah,
always start with this week. Anyone can start with this 12-week project from any week they want, right? When they
yeah,
feel they're ready. So
yeah.
rather than
And
attempting it half-heartedly, I would suggest give yourself time and come back to it later, is
Yeah,
what I
but
would say.
then I mean, few points which I have learned is like at least few things I can execute. No, Mansi, like taking the activities and see the score, how I'm executing it, and I wouldn't be attached to the result part, because I'm like busy, and at the same time I need to occupy my mind with something productive. So yeah, I will try to. I mean, I've already started, but not at a serious go. It wouldn't be possible for me. But then at times listening or reading to this also will help me for the further execution of my activities as well. So it's like that.
yeah, Pranavi, no problem. You can maybe once you actually start implementing more deeper, you can share whatever
Yeah.
your issues are, or you can share your experience, what went well also, right, with
Yeah.
us, because you know that we four will at least go ahead right now, and then you can join if you feel that in the future you want
Yeah.
to.
I need a little more time,
Yeah, yeah. That is
to
absolutely
myself.
okay because we are all know, priorities keep changing and it is up to us,
I
how
don't know,
much we
especially
can.
for a woman, it happens more, and not with the men, I guess, Maniselvi. I don't know. From
Yeah.
past a month, I'm so much busy, but yes, I'm attempting, not even attempting. I am working, but then that's not happening at a consistent base. Either or other, I'm trying to do and execute, but I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, we are all in the same boat. Don't worry. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it happens, right? Our
Yeah.
Yeah.
family is our first
Yeah.
priority for most of us. Like,
Yeah.
and even if we are working, even I've seen, like, even when a woman goes to office, her half of her heart is in the house. If the kid is okay and all of that, that doesn't happen with men. Mostly, like, it's not like in some, there can be some exceptions, but mostly.
Yeah.
Right. So fine. So we'll call it a day today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thanks. It was
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
let's see how we can do that.
Yes.
Like maybe from
Yes.
a new week
Maybe
that is
Sunday.
upcoming, we can start more
Yes.
seriously.
Sunday maybe, because I would want, so what I thought, I'm going to make a plan and then I would want feedback as to whether my, thought process is on the right track, whether the tactics that I've built in are correct. And I'm not going to take anything major, too complicated. As they said that it has to be as simple to the core. So from that perspective,
Yeah, sure.
maybe a Sunday we
Okay.
could actually, block to discuss this, or get a brief outline and then get feedback.
So I just leave that to Mani Selvi, how she would want to take it forward, because she is leading this book.
No,
But yeah, I
it's
would be
okay,
there
Mansi. I
to
would say,
support.
Sunita, you come back to us maybe on Saturday. You can drop a email, maybe message to each one, the remaining three of us, and then we can, confirm a time. Right? And from
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
we'll
that
take it forward, not a issue.
we can all take the next 3-4 days to just
Hmm.
articulate
Hmm.
around what we want to, maybe go through brush through the pages of the book or something like that, and then we can just come back to discuss, like maybe sometime during
Yeah.
Sunday, Monday, something like that.
Yeah. And we
Right,
can
right.
mutually, maybe over next 2 days, how we progress on the plan, we can decide a convenient date and we can fix it. No issues. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
no
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.